W8VPV. Repeater.
Tango QP test.
Hey Pat, W8DIS.
Bill, what's up?
Coming through loud and clear.
Glad to hear that. I got about another 3 or 4 minutes. Time for the net. It's the first one I'm doing this year.
Well, I'm glad to hear you're on the air. It's you've had a few trials and travails there, but it's good to have you around.
I appreciate that. Good to be around.
T-0 will actually see it clear the way even further as Falcon 9 lifts off. The transporter erector and the first stage are attached to a launch mount at the base of the TE. Now that structure is hinged, and we use ground hydraulics to pull that away, further away in preparation for launch. We heard some callouts there that we've begun to pressurize the stage in preparation for strong back recline and for the strong back fully reclining.
Good evening, all amateur radio operators. Welcome to the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club's Monday night 2-meter UHF VHF net. My name is Pat. My call sign is November 8, Oscar Quebec Papa. But for the purposes of this net, we'll be using the club call of Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor. It's an open and directed net. All amateur radio operators are invited and encouraged to check in. You don't need to be a club member, and all traffic will go through net control. And since this is an emergency traffic repeater, we ask that you leave small pauses between transmissions so that any type of that traffic can get into us. of this net is to bring together all amateur radio operators for the exchanging of amateur-related ideas and information, and to enhance the net operating practices, which have been a little lax of lately. And during these times of social isolation, which I think is over, which I'll have to remove that from the script, to keep members up to date with club happenings here. This net meets every Monday night at 8:30, usually preceded by a newsline at 8:01.
W8VPV. Repeater.
I'll start with announcements and then ask for check-ins from any officers or members with any announcements that are of general interest to the club. Once that's complete, then we'll open it up for general check-ins. I'll take 5 check-ins one at a time. I'll take and confirm the call sign and then move to the next one. And once we get 5, we'll go back to the top of the list. If you're a regular participant, I'll probably know who you are, and we'll just make it as quick as we can. If you're not a regular participant, I'll need your name, call sign, and location. Please give me the call sign phonetically. When all check-ins are worked, I will close the net after repeating the announcements. We also operate an HF net, which tonight will be on 6 meters at 50.270 upper side, and that'll start at 9:30. Here's the announcements. I don't really have a whole lot that I'm aware of, because it's been a while since I've been on top of these, so I'm sure a lot of them will check in. We do have a rather interesting program meeting coming up over the next couple of days. The Wednesday is usually our business meeting, but since we canceled the last meeting, we're going to have the meeting that was, or the presentation that was supposed to be given then. That'll be given at the business meeting. There will probably be about a 2 or 3 minute business meeting in the beginning, but for the most part, it'll be all presentation. Meeting is at the United Church of Christ on 130 Broad Boulevard, and the meeting will open up. We'll be there about 7 o'clock, so if you want to show up a little bit early, socialize, you can. Hope to see you there. Also be on Zoom, so I don't like we normally do, and you can get to the Zoom meeting by looking at CFARC.org, looking at the calendar, and the link will be there. That's all the announcements I've got for now. We do have another meeting coming the 22nd, but it slipped my mind what that is, so hopefully we'll hear about that from Jim and one of the other officers. With that, let's open it up to officers and anybody with general announcements. If you have an announcement you'd like to give us, or if you're an officer with the same, please call W8VPV.
WA3JAT.
A3JAT, good evening, Jim. I will give you a call probably tomorrow afternoon with a couple of things, so just keep in mind that I'm probably going to be calling you. It's JIM. What you got for us tonight?
W8VPV, WA3JAT returning. Yes, we have several programs coming up here in the next 6 weeks. You've already mentioned the one that's coming Wednesday with Frank concerning our repeater and potentials that it has for improvement. We've got another one, of course, on the 4th Wednesday of this month, which will be February 22nd. That will be on backyard radio astronomy, the Ultimate DX. Great ladder, break for time. telescope, and we'll be bringing it to the meeting. He's actually, although he lives in Maryland, he will be here in town, and we'll give the in person as well as, of course, on Zoom. But he is bringing his radio telescope with him to show, so hopefully you can make it to that meeting.
We're really pretty scratchy there towards the end, Jim.
Okay, I'm not sure. I'm only running 5 watts, but it should make it. At any rate, Greg will be here with the radio telescope presentation, and then in March we are going to have a presentation by Anthony, KHZT, and that will be on everything about 10 meters and how to enjoy it, particularly with us moving into these increasing sunspots and better propagation. So back to you, Pat. W8VPV, WA3JAT.
Okay, copied 100% that time. Thank you, sir. And we'll be getting back to you. I forgot about the thing with Greg Latta. That'll be a good one, too. With that, any other officers or anybody with announcements want to check in while you can here, please call W8VPV. Hearing nothing, let's go ahead and open it up to general check-ins. If you'd like to check into our net, please call W8VPV.
K8ZT.
Okay, copy. K8ZT. Come on. Good evening, Anthony. THONY. Got that. Next call, please.
WO3XS.
Got WO3X. HN. Hang on, John. We'll get right back to you. Next, please.
W8EZT. Yes.
Okay, I got W8EZT, Frank. And I got Bill. Hang on a second. Okay. W8DIS. Bill. Bill, were you in and out, or did you have traffic?
No, I'll talk this week, thanks.
Okay, it's 4. Let's grab one more here.
Kilo Echo 8, Victor Quebec X-ray, Joe in West Akron.
Kilo Echo 8. I didn't catch the last part, Joe.
Victor Quebec X-ray, Victor Quebec X-ray.
Victor Quebec X-ray. VQX. Okay, gotcha. All right, that's our 5. Let's double back to the top here. Good evening, Anthony. What's up, sir?
Good evening, everyone. If you haven't gotten a chance to get on 10 meters, it's been hopping the last weekend. Also, I sent out an email yesterday or the day before you were to receive it. It had a link to the newsletter for this month. Also had details on the upcoming meetings. If you did not receive an email from me at kzt@cfarc.org or meeting@cfarc.org, please let me know if you did not receive that, and I will go ahead and make sure that's fixed. This is KZT.
Yeah, thank you for that, and hopefully, if anybody hasn't got it, if you want to let us know with your check-in, we can at least get you to Anthony here. Next is WO3X. Good evening, John. What's up?
Good evening, Pat. This is WO3X. Good to hear you on there. I have a question for Jim, WA3JAT.
Are you still here?
I'm still here. I had to run back across the room and grab my HT.
Go ahead, John.
Okay, Jim, I was wondering if you got an email from Dave, AA8UK. His email address is something about 70 Super Sport or something like that. He had a couple questions about your IC910H. Over.
W8VPV. Repeater. PL110.9.
No, John, I have not received any email from him, unless it went into my spam.
you on the telephone there sometime. Okay, so I check into that's all for Jim there, Pat. Thanks. So I check into a net called Waste Your Time and Energy, and I announced our Hamfest there the last couple of times that I checked in, and people seem interested. They're asking me about directions. Now that's pretty far east, so they're not real familiar with the area. But some of the check-ins did mention that they had been to our Hamfest and that it was real good. Let's see. So with that, I'll turn it back to you, Pat, and I'll be running the band exploration net here this evening. Like you mentioned, it's on 6 meters at 50.270 megahertz. Back to the net, this is WO3X.
Okay, John, thank you for all that, and hopefully a lot of us will be joining you on 6. I know I'm planning on doing it. So with that, we will go ahead and move on to Mr. I've got a presentation this week. W8EZT from WAVPV. Good evening, sir.
I've got a presentation this week. Evening, Pat, everybody out there. W8EZT Frank here. Again, we're going to do the presentation that originally we were going to do 2 weeks ago, but was canceled due to weather, which turned out not to be a big issue. And again, on behalf of the club, I apologize for that. But we're going to be talking about our repeater, what we have up there now, what the components look like, what it's been through in the distant past, in the near past, but most importantly, some opportunities to expand repeater functionality in the future. And I hope this will start a discussion on what we can do to improve our repeater and get more usage to it. So certainly look forward to having club members attend, whether in person at the church or via Zoom. Other than that, don't have a lot to report. I'm just kind of wrapping up the finishing touches. I've had a chance to go back and redo the presentation since it was originally canceled and took out a couple of non-needed slides. So I think we'll have a good time there. I'm looking forward to it. Other than that, I have nothing at this point. So let me hand it back to you. This is W8EZT.
It actually feels pretty good to be back in this chair and I do appreciate everybody who's subbed for me in the past and helped keep the club going while I was under the weather. So with that, W8DIS, good evening, Bill. What you got for us?
Hello, everybody. Good to be on the air. I've been in and out the past couple of weeks because a lot of things going on in my family, and they continue to go on. It's going to be a few more weeks. Looking forward to the meeting on Wednesday, but once again, I'm not going to be able to make it in person. I'll Zoom in if I can. Hopefully nothing will come up. But hope everybody's healthy, doing well, and enjoying this little warm-up we're having this week. That's all I really have this week. It's good to hear you on the air, Pat, and this is W8DIS, and I'll send it back to W8VPV.
Hey, Bill, have a good evening, sir, and thanks for checking in with us. We'll probably see you, at least electronically, this coming Wednesday. Now we're off to KE8 Victor Quebec X-Ray. Joe, good evening, Joe. What's up?
W8VPV, this is KE8VQX. Hi, Pat, and everybody. Not much going on. Just went up to Minnesota last week to visit my mom and help her with some stuff. She's 82. It was minus 15 one morning there. Got to participate in a net with some local guys up there, which was kind of fun. And managed to get back in time to take the general class yesterday online. And again, those guys are doing a great job. I'm not saying I'm getting it all, but I will eventually. So anyway, with that, I have nothing else. With that, this is KE8VQX, back to net.
Well, I can tell you from experience that those guys are top rate as far as the teaching and that. And if you don't understand something, all you got to do is ask. They'll go out of their way to help you understand it. So, good luck with finishing it up, and hopefully we'll get you into the general seat. With that, I think we're at the bottom of the list here, so let's take a few more and see if there's any more out there. If you'd like to check into our net, please call W8VPV.
He doesn't own it. We can't go take it. The bank owns it. And the bank is, by the courts, considered an individual.
Okay, next please.
WTK.
KA8WTK. Good evening, Mr. Bill. Let's see if there's any more. If you'd like to check in, please call.
APU?
K8PU. Good evening, Mr. Larry. Hang in there. We got, we got two more here. We're actually just hit 10. L-A-R-Y. Next, please. WB8CXO. Always good to hear you, Mike. L-I-K-E. Alright, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, we got one more out here. Let's have it. Okay, let's circle back then. AB8OU, good evening, Zeke. How you been?
AB8OU, good evening, Pat and everyone. Well, I'm stood here, playing with the K4 bit over the weekend. I got it in the software that I use networked for the most part, even though I wiped out my wireless network in the process. And the wife decided the shack was long overdue for a clean out, so that occupied most of my weekend, and took a back end full of paper up to recycling today. And I see that John KO3X looks like he made first place in his class in the PA QSO party results. So congrats to him. Anyway, that's it for me, AB8OU.
Hey, Zeke. Hopefully see you Wednesday. And good to hear that. I always hate it when the wife says it's time to clean the shack up. No. So I can relate. She's back there. What? Okay, we'll go. Anyway, before I get myself in any more trouble, WTK. Well, what's Bill been up to?
Good evening, Pat, WABPV, and the rest of the net, KA8WTK. Well, I've been playing with some more Raspberry Pis. I've got another idea. If you saw the newsletter that if you looked at it, you saw the pictures of my railroad that has reverse loops. And right now, those are running just mechanically, meaning when a train goes through the loop and it wants to get out, we're letting its wheels push the points over so it can get back out through the switch. And I'm going to try and automate that with some little Raspberry Pi computers and some LED laser brake beam pieces of transmitters and receivers. When a train goes by, it should break the beam and cause a servo motor to operate and move the points. So we'll see how that works out. Nice. It's good weather to experiment with that in the shack and not out at the railroad. It's a little chilly out there today. Other than that, waiting for spring and got a lot of antenna work to do, as well as want to get out and run the train. So back to net. W8VPV, KA8WTK.
Okay, Mr. Bill. It's always good to hear from you. Yeah, I'm waiting the railroad. That's you always have me intrigued there. Hopefully, we will see pictures. Anyway, let's move on to Mr. PU. K8PU from W8VPV. Good evening, Larry.
Hey, Pat. Glad you're back. Sound good, buddy. Good to hear you. Hope everything is coming along pretty good. You sound a little cheerful, so must be. This daggone surgery is rough. I had a little of my own and still feeling some of the ills, but that goes with the territory. Yeah, I got the newsletter, seen Bill's railroad out there. That's quite a layout there. Pretty nice. I don't know where he found enough snow to take that picture, though. We haven't had hardly any snow. That probably was enough. I was thinking about selling my snowblower if I don't get some here pretty soon, but I don't think I'll go that far. Quite a mild winter so far. Just keep it coming. And we're about 2 months from Hamfest here, and we'll end up we'll have it behind us. Oh well, nothing new and exciting at Oakwood Drive, so catch everybody on 10 meters at 9:30. So back to you, Pat. W8VPV, K8PU.
All right, Larry. It's always good to hear from you. We can relate to that surgery stuff. It's not fun, but we've pulled ourselves pretty much out of it. There's some remaining steps that we have to go through, but with God and family behind me, it'll be hopefully an easier trip. That's surgery stuff I wouldn't recommend to nobody. Anyway, Mr. CXO is next. WB8CXO, Mr. Mike, what's up? All right, Mike, thanks for checking in with us. That's pretty impressive with what you heard there. So hopefully, I need to get around the radio a little bit more myself. Instead of sitting over on a couch watching TV, I ought to be twisting a few knobs over here. But that'll happen. Anyway, we're at the bottom of the list again, so let's see if there's any more out there. And if you'd like to check into our net, please call W8VPV.
KE8 KVI Alpha Jim in Stowe VPV.
Okay, I got KE8 KVI. Good evening, Ron. Hang with us a second. There was somebody under Ron. I want to try it again.
Kilo Echo 8, Uniform Lima Alpha, Jim, Stowe.
KE8, was it Uniform Alpha?
That's correct, KE8, Uniform Lima Alpha.
Uniform Lima Alpha. And the name was?
The name's Jim in Stowe.
Hey Jim, hang on just a second. We'll go right back to here. We need 3 more if there's any out here. Let's try it again. Anybody else want to check in with us?
K8HMS.
K8HMS. Damn, that call sign sounds so familiar to me. It just seems like it's been 5 or 6 years since I've talked to him. Yeah, we both know better, don't we, Steve? Anyway, well, hang on. I got you on the list here. Anybody else?
WO3X with some more stories.
Cuyahoga Falls.
Okay, John, hang on just a second. I'll put you down as a recheck. 3X3. All right, there was one other one under John there. You want to come back again?
Kilo Echo 8, Whiskey Golf Delta, Greg in Cuyahoga Falls.
Okay, KE Whiskey Golf Delta, and that was Greg. Okay, am I correct with that?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, that's our 5 for this round. John, why don't you, since you want to recheck, go ahead.
Okay, regarding 10 meters, and let's see, I did winter field day up on not very far from Justine's place there, mobile stationary, and with just I made 69 contacts altogether, but on 10 meters I made 12 contacts, and I was only using ham sticks for each band. I did, I did 20 meters, 10 meters, 40 meters, and 80 meters. Okay, so with those 4 bands, I prepared a ham stick for each band. And on 10 meters, I made 12 contacts, and I made contacts with Oregon and California, Alberta, Oregon, LAX, California, Utah, New Mexico, Arizona, South Texas, and Idaho. So 10 meters was working pretty good. So with that, back to the net. This is WO3X.
That's pretty cool, John. That's, especially being portable like that. Not too bad. Let's move this on to Mr. KVI. Good evening, Ron. KVI from W8VPV.
Good evening, Pat. Everybody out there in radio land. Not much to report today. It's been a long day of doing nothing but technical problems. Fun. Fortunately, I enjoy that stuff. W8VPV.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, but fortunately most of it's over, though someone is just now calling me, probably with another problem, so I'll have to get over to them.
Well, that's what you're there for, right?
Lives.
I think I doubled with you. Still there, Ron?
Yes, I am. What did you say?
I think I doubled with you there at the end.
I was just saying that's pretty much what geeks do their entire lives. We never really retire, even though technically I did 5 years ago.
I can definitely relate to that. as he sits in the middle of 6 computers, a radio station, actually 2 radio stations, let alone ham stuff. No, I'm not a geek.
Yeah, right, Pat. Keep convincing yourself of that.
Anything else for the net tonight?
Nope, that's about it. I've got to go return a phone call now.
All right, have a good evening. Hopefully see you Wednesday. Uniform Lima Alpha, Jim. Good evening, Jim. What's up, sir?
Thanks, Pat. Good evening, everyone on the net. Not much going on here. Just recovering. Had hip surgery recently, which motivated me to finally get a real power supply. Moving the mobile rig into the shack here. Just kind of sitting around here. Wanted to hop on the net, say hello to everybody, and looking forward to the meeting this Wednesday. Kind of counting the days till I can retire. Turn 65 in about 3 years here. God willing, I'll be able to retire as well. I'll be zooming into the meeting on Wednesday and kind of looking forward to that. So with that, take it back to the net, KE8ULA.
Jim, as far as a hip replacement, if they've told you that not to sit around, I would definitely take their advice, no matter how painful it is. I know my daughter had a knee replacement. That's what they told her. Modern medicine today is a lot different than it was back in in the 20 or 30 years ago. And they do that for a reason, because it gets you up and moving around and that. So, and I'm not saying don't heed the doctors, but if they tell you to do something, you're best doing it. With that, we'll see you hopefully Wednesday night on Zoom. Mr. HMS is next. I don't know if we can handle this or not. What's going on, Steve?
Hi, Pat. Rest of the net. Before I go on here, I'm on the 440 side. You have a copy, okay?
120%.
Okay, sounds good. Just, I know a couple times it hasn't gone over too well. So anyway, good evening to you. Good evening to everybody. Thanks for running the net. And glad you're doing better. One of these days I need to get all the gory details about what happened to you there. But anyway, yeah, not a lot going on. Just enjoying this not so cold weather. And yeah, speaking of doing things after surgery, yeah, when I had my open heart surgery, I think they had me up the next day, and I thought, you gotta be kidding me, I can't stand up. But gotta do what you gotta do. So other than that, I guess that's about it. Oh, I don't know where the other net thing is. Maybe you could hit me up there. So back to you, Kate HMS.
Yeah, the other net's going to be on 50.270 upper side, 6 meters. And as far as when they had me in there, as far as the surgery wise, they told me if you want to go home, you got to get up and walk around. So guess what I did? I got up and walked around. But it was something else. It was an experience. It wasn't per se unpleasant. A little painful here and there, but it was what it was. Anyway, Steve, we'll catch you hopefully Wednesday night too. If not, hopefully somewhere down the road here. We'll get together and I'll give you the details and all the gross stuff and everything like that. Let's move on to Mr. K8 Whiskey Golf Delta, Greg. Good evening, Greg. What's up, sir?
I just wanted to tell everybody hi. Looking forward to hopefully actually making it to the meeting on Wednesday and meeting some of you in person. I'm a fairly new member of the club, so it'll be my first meeting if I can make it. So.
Cool. You're welcome to our little club.
seems to be a pretty friendly group on the air so far. So I look forward to seeing any of you I can on Wednesday. Kilo Echo 8, Whiskey Golf Delta, back to the net.
Okay, sir. Have a good evening. Thanks for checking in with us, and hopefully see you. Our meetings are the second, fourth Wednesday of each month. We're at the the name escapes me. It's the Pilgrim United Church of Christ, I believe it is, on Broad Boulevard there at 130 Broad Boulevard. So if you get a chance, come on over. With that, we are at the bottom of the list again. Let's see if there's any more out here. If there are, we will go ahead with them. If not, we'll go ahead and close things up here. If you'd like to check into our net, please call to BPPV.
November 8, Yankee Romeo X-ray, Buck and Green.
Yankee Romeo X-ray. Good evening, Mr. Buck. Hang on, let's see if we got any more here. CJ. Hey, anybody else out here want to check in? Please call to BPV.
KE8TQR, Keith in Springfield Township.
Okay, KE8, was that Delta Quebec Romeo?
Kilo Echo 8, Echo Quebec Romeo. Sorry, that was my fault.
I accidentally keyed the mic when you said the last part. Give me the suffix.
TQR, Tango, Quebec, Romeo.
Okay, Tango, Quebec, Romeo. Gotcha, and that was Keith?
Kilo Echo India, Tango Hotel, Keith, Springfield Township.
Okay, gotcha, sir. And hang loose, we'll be right back to you. Anybody else want to check in? Hearing nothing. Let's go back to Mr. Buck. NEYRX from W8PPV. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Pat. I tuned in pretty late here. I had my hands full and just remembered in time to get in, so I'm glad I caught you. And don't have a whole lot to add, but I am glad to hear you back in the chair there. It's always great to hear your voice, and I hope you're feeling much better. And I'm sure we'll catch you down the road. So I'm going to turn it back to you, NEYRX, and good evening to everybody else listening.
Thanks for checking in with us. I'll probably catch you somewhere on one of the other haunts. We will have a chance to talk. Good to hear you, sir, as always. And it is kind of bittersweet to get back in a chair here. You know, got to put this stuff in the past, and now it's time for me to start getting in the chair and doing what I need to do. So, with that, we will go ahead and move it on here, Mr. Keith. That was Kilo Echo 8, Tango Quebec Romeo. Keith, good evening, sir.
Well, good evening, Pat, and everyone else on the net. I just wanted to stop in tonight and check in. I've been making some calls out there on the radio tonight, a couple different friends of mine and a couple other nets, but I wanted to stop in here this evening. And I did get the newsletter with the link. I'm really happy I did because I've been collecting trains for a long time, many years now. Mine don't go outside, but they're down here in the shack with me. In fact, is my radio table is what used to be my train table, but it's now the radio table. I don't have enough room for both hobbies at the same time, but I was really impressed by those pictures. Not the one so much with the snow, but the rest of them were really nice. I thought that was a wonderful set of pictures. But anyway, I just wanted to stop in and say hi. Hope everybody's doing all right and taking it easy. And I will send it back to you, Pat, at the net. This is KE8TQR. 7-3 all.
Yeah, Keith, we actually do have quite a few members that are train enthusiasts too. There is several members of a train club that usually frequent our meetings. So if you get a chance sometime, you ought to stop in. I can point you in the right direction to them. And I'm sure Mr. Bill is probably grinning from ear to ear about his train stuff there. So anyway, we'll go ahead and move it on here. And we're at that funny part where I think that we're probably going to run out of check-ins. But let's see if there's any more. Then I'll run through the announcements and see what else we got. If you'd like to check into our net, please call W8PPV.
Kilo Echo 8, Victory Romeo India from Cuyahoga Falls.
Romeo India, and the name is?
Mike.
Mike, since we've pretty much thinned out here, let's why don't you go ahead and got any traffic for us tonight? Anything for us tonight, Mike?
Not much going on, just checking into the net for the first time. I hope everyone's having a great night out there.
Oh, and got another newbie, that's cool. We are usually here every Monday night on this one from about 8:30 on. We usually run Newsline at 8, and that picks up at 8:30. So you're always welcome here, and thanks for finding us and checking in.
I appreciate that, and much obliged.
Have a good evening, sir, and hopefully catch you down the pike here. Anybody else want to check in, please call. Okay, hearing nothing, let's take and go back through the announcements, what few we have. We've got a meeting coming up this Wednesday night that will actually be a presentation. It should be the business meeting. There probably will be about 2 or 3 minutes worth of business, but we're actually trying to change the formats of things here around a little bit. So this particular situation happened into making it what it is, and it'll give you a preview of what we're trying to work for. Meeting will be at the United Church of Pilgrim, I think it's Pilgrim's United Church of Christ on Broad Boulevard, and I should know that, but it's been a while. But 130 Broad Boulevard, we start at 7:30. There will be a Zoom link and Zoom there, so if you can't physically make it, come on in on Zoom. The Zoom is available, the link is available on CFARC.org. Look in the calendar and you'll see it. Break. The next presentation after that is the 22nd of February, I believe. That will be Mr. Greg Latta talking about radio telescopes. That's got to be a pretty interesting one too. And then the meeting in March, the activity meeting in March will be Anthony Luscre, and he will be talking about 10 meters for all. Should be 3 really interesting discussions and presentations coming, so if you get a chance, you ought to join us. I think that's about all I've got. I do know we've got a general class going on. Wasn't much mentioned about that. If you need any information or are looking to join something like that, check out the webpage, CFARC.org, and that'll pretty much tell you what you need to know, the contacts and whatever. I think that's about all the announcements, so let's see if there's any other check-ins, and if not, we'll go ahead and close this up. If you want to check into our net, please call W8PPV.
KE8ULA recheck.
Go ahead, ULA.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks, Matt, for the advice on the surgery there. And Roger, that, if it was up to me, I would just lie in bed all day. But, you know, my wife makes sure that I get up and walk around and do the exercise and all that physical therapy. So I'm in good hands here. So roger that. Thanks again, KE8ULA.
Anytime I can help, you know that. I had some other type of surgery done, and that's what they made me do. They don't let you lay anymore. It's usually they give you 5 or 6 hours and you're up out of bed, even if it's just for a couple of steps. And they tell you if you don't get up, you're a lot more prone to blood clots and everything else. So even though it's painful, you gotta push yourself to do it. But, anytime, like I said, if we can give you any advice, I'm always full of advice and other things that my family knows about, but we won't even go into that here. Anyway, is there any other check-ins tonight? If you'd like to check in with us, please call. Otherwise, we're going to close this up.
This is K8BI, Bill in Cuyahoga Falls.
K8BI. K8BI. Good evening, Bill. What's up, sir?
Good evening, Pat and Annette. Really not too much up. Just trying to get the things in life done here and slowly crossing stuff off the list. And I hope everyone's having a good week. It looks like we're in for a little warmer weather and a little bit of rain or something coming up. But for early February, not too bad. Anyways, glad to hear everyone. Almost forgot to check in. I got so interested in just listening. So everyone have a great week. We'll catch you next time. W8VPV, K8BI.
Okay, Bill, thanks for checking in with us, and hopefully made it interesting enough. And glad we gave you the gumption to check in. Always appreciated. Anybody else, before we lock this up, please call W8VPV.
Number 8, Alpha Charlie Papa, N8 ACP, Chris in Akron. No traffic, 7-3.
Okay, Chris. Thanks for checking in with us. Your number 20s. Your number 20s. Be a good even number to end with. Anybody else? We can always make it an odd one. And you don't keep hurt. W8PPV, looking for check-ins.
I've always been an odd one, Pat. I'll give you one more. NAUCAM, no traffic.
I know I could depend on you, Chris. UKM. Always good to depend on you, buddy.
Right. Yeah, I just realized it was Monday night. Catch ya, NAUCAM.
All right, Chris. Have a good evening. Have a good week. Hopefully we'll catch up to you. Anybody else? Let's go for another even number here. Hey, hearing nothing. Let's go ahead and prepare to close this up here. I do appreciate everybody that's checked in tonight. It's been a while since we did a net. Actually, it was, I think, back in November that we did it. And preparing to close this net, I'd like to thank all that took the time to join us tonight and check in. Without your participation, there wouldn't be a net. This has been N8OQP, Pat, and it's been my pleasure to host this evening's net. At this time, I will go ahead and close the net with, looks like 21 check-ins, and return the repeater to normal and customary amateur use. This is Whiskey Victor Papa Victor, closing the net at, looks like 9:20 p.m. Thanks again for everybody that checked in. There was 21 and 73 y'all. Catch you on 6 meters in a little bit. NAOQP, clear the chair.
have become reluctant to go out in the winter, especially after we totaled the car. One in April at Norwich. The ones that I always went to, Items for the net. After that, I will take check-ins 5 at a time, acknowledging each call 1 at a time. When all have checked in, I will repeat the announcements. After that, I will give one last call for check-ins and then close the net. The next regular meeting of the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club will be on this Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. at the Pilgrim United Church of Christ, 130 Broad Boulevard. Get to the parking lot by going south on 2nd Street off of Broad Boulevard. And the meeting will also be on Zoom. All these meetings will be on Zoom. Okay, and we will have a short business meeting, and then we will have the presentation by Frank, W8EZT, about our club repeater, and we at the end of that, the second half of the presentation will be about our wants and special items about the repeater from the participants. Then on February 22nd, there'll be a presentation by Greg Latta, Alpha 8 Victor, who lives in Frostburg, Maryland, but he's going to come to the meeting here. I guess weather permitting, of course, and he's going to give us a presentation on radio astronomy. So word has it that he's going to bring some of the equipment that he has to demonstrate that. Then on March 8th, there'll be a presentation by Anthony, K8CT, about the 10-meter band, which is coming up with long-distance communications recently. So, yeah, and I can vouch for that as I operated Winter Field Day. Okay, let's see. So that's all that I have in a way of announcements. So this is Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor with WO3X. Name here is John at the mic, asking for check-ins from officers or members who have special items for the net. Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor asking for officers or members who have special items for the net. Okay, nothing heard, so I guess I covered everything in the way of announcements. So this is Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor asking for 5 check-ins. Let me acknowledge each call one at a time.
Whiskey Alpha 3, Juliet Alpha Tango.
WA3JAT, I have you, Jim. Another one, please.
K8HMS.
K8HMS, I have you, Steve. Another one, please. Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor asking for check-ins. N8OQP, I have you, Pat. Another one, please. Okay, there's somebody in there. Can somebody give me a relay on that?
It's John.
WB8CXO, and I think that's Mike. And then I'll put you in, Bill. KA8WTK. So that's 5. So let's go up to Jim, WA3JAT. Go ahead, Jim, with your comments.
Okay, W8VPV, WA3JAT. No comments other than you did a nice job covering the meetings coming up, and hope we have a good turnout for all of them because they're all going to be good. So back to you, John, W8VPV, WA3JAT.
Okay, Jim, thanks, and so have a good evening there. 73, and maybe I'll call you on the telephone after the net here. Okay, let's see. So next is Steve, K8HMS. Go ahead, Steve, with your comments.
Yeah, hi, John. In the net, K8HMS. It's crazy. When I get on 6 here, it activates my Lionel crossing signal. I don't know if you can hear the bells in the background and stuff and the whistle. But anyway, yeah, no changes since the 2-meter net, but good to hear people on 6 meters. And, yeah, and things are running the net, John. Yeah, I wasn't able to get into winter field day. I had company here over the weekend, so really didn't have a chance to do anything, but if we were outside somewhere or camped out, would have been a nice weekend for it. The weather wasn't all that bad. And I'm hoping my 60-foot long wire, the one end support, broke here a while back, so I'm waiting for some decent weather to get that fixed so I can get on 80 and 160 and all that. So anyway, back to you. Good hearing you. W8VPV, K8HMS.
Okay, Steve. Yeah, you sure that's not a train coming down the tracks there? You better jump out of the way. Over.
Well, yeah, it is pretty close. I'm hoping not, but they do have the tracks fixed for the Cauga Valley line, and it's going to start running again. So I better check it out.
Yeah, on my walks around Cuyahoga Falls here, I heard, I guess it was work work vehicles going up the tracks there from Akron. And so I guess that's what they were doing because the tracks weren't even down to Peninsula. It was only open from Rockside Station up there in Independence down to Fitzwater, I think, or no, down to Brecksville, down to Route 82. There's a station under Route 82, and so it was unusual to hear activity from the Akron end going north, and so I guess that's what they were doing. They were doing the repairs. They had to blow their horns every time they came to a railroad crossing. So that's how I knew they were going up the tracks there. So, okay, yeah, and then I heard they got it all running there. So, good to hear from you there, Steve. So, 73, and have a good evening. Okay, next is Pat, N8OQP. Go ahead, Pat, with your comments. This is Whiskey 8 Victor, Papa Victor.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. We don't really have a whole lot. Just kind of wondered, John, do you know much, have you been through that Palestine place out there? I know it's closer to PA than it is here. I just wondered about that. You can fill me in on once we get done here. Don't really have a lot. I had 22 check-ins on the other net there. Pretty good night, I guess, for the most part. I think that's about it. We'll go ahead and turn it back to Net. Have a good evening. I'll listen out for the answer. N8OQP.
Are you asking about East Palestine?
Yeah, that railroad mess out there.
Yeah, well, when we go back to visit or whatever, I go on Interstate 76, and then 76 goes on the Turnpike, but I stay on the road, and it becomes Interstate 80. Interstate 80 comes off the Ohio Turnpike. And so I go on Interstate 80 to Interstate 680 and go down through Youngstown, weave our way on Interstate 680 through Youngstown, and then I get off at 164. I take Ohio Route 164, only about a quarter mile, and then I turn on to Ohio 626, which ends about a mile after that at Ohio 165. And so I go on 165 to Ohio Route 14, and then that goes diagonally into Pennsylvania. Well, just east of 165 hits 14 at Unity. Just about a mile from that intersection where I get onto 14, there's a road, I think, I forget what route it is, but it's going off to the south, and it says East Palestine, 3 miles. And but I stay on 14, and then at the Pennsylvania line, that road becomes Pennsylvania Route 51. Well, not long after we cross the border, there's the railroad tracks that go under 51, and I looked on the map today, and that's the same railroad tracks where that derailment happened. So it's actually not far at all from the Pennsylvania border. And I think Anthony, KACT has a relative living in East Palestine, and that's where Anthony got one of his COVID-19 shots. Does that answer your question there, Pat? Over?
Yeah, I had, when I was working, I used to drive pretty much that area on a not everyday basis, but probably 2 or 3 times a week sometimes. I had a route that went over that way, and it when I saw where I know exactly that 3 mile sign. That's one of the news clips that I saw was standing right in front of that sign. So I know exactly where you're talking about. But that is some kind of a mess out there. I just hope they get it cleaned up quick.
Yeah. Hopefully it didn't mess up the groundwater for the people that have wells out there. And yeah, that I saw that on the news there. That 3 miles to East Palestine and 3 miles to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I had been by that sign probably 100 times.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, seeing that sign there. My wife saw it too. So, okay. So, yeah, there's some. Hopefully, they can get that taken care of. Now, the weather's going to change some, so that smoke. Right now, there's an inversion. But the wind is going to pick up, and it's going to be from the south, so that might blow that smoke up toward Meadville or somewhere like that, maybe Franklin. I don't know, maybe up toward Erie, but hopefully it'll get up high enough that it won't be coming on the ground. Over.
They're saying some of that is going to be settled down by. There's supposed to be some showers that are going to go through that area that will probably settle a lot of that down. I didn't really want to take the net up with this, but I just figured I wondered if you knew where it was or not. I'll go ahead and turn it back to that. Thanks, John. Have a good evening, sir, and we'll talk to you. And at OQP.
Okay, Pat. Yeah, thanks. So 73, and have a good evening. Okay, next was WB8CXO. Mike, but I don't know if I'll be able to copy him, but go ahead, WB8CXO, with your comments. Somebody will hear you. Over. Oh, yeah, I can copy you good now. Go ahead. Okay, Mike. Yeah, I had you actually a little over S9 now, so no problem at all. So good to hear you there, and thanks for checking into the net 73, and have a good evening. Okay, next is Bill, KA8WTK. This is Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor with John WO3X at the mic. Go ahead, Bill, with your comments.
Yeah, W8VPV, KA8WTK. Good evening, John and everybody else. And I mentioned on the 2-meter net that I was playing with the Raspberry Pi. Mike, I'll have you know that I've spent at least 2 hours trying to figure out why a little Python script wouldn't run. I'm thinking it's software. I'm putting it in the wrong place. I'm doing something wrong. It's got to be just so. It wasn't software, it was wetware. It was me. I had left out a parenthesis in the script, and it wouldn't run until I found that. And it took me a long time to do it. Yep, you never can tell what it's going to be. So that's about it. back to net. W8VPV, KA8WTK.
Hate when that happens.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know, yeah. I have actually I won it at the 2021 Maslin Hamfest Zyku G90, and I had never used it, but let's see, it was in December I decided to use it to check into the band exploration net on 80 meters, and when I went to check in, it didn't have any, it didn't put out any signal, and so I turned the other radio on and checked in with that, and then after the net I was checking it, and it didn't have any transmit audio, so I wasn't familiar with it, and I thought maybe it was set up to work with a headset. So I plugged the earphones into the one connector that has an earphone symbol, and then I plugged the microphone into the receptacle that's right below the earphone receptacle, and what that did, that was not the microphone connector, that was the serial connector for programming it. And so what it did was it deprogrammed the radio, so it didn't work at all. So I had to reprogram it, and here the programming cable that came with it was defective. So I got another one of those, and then I reprogrammed the whole radio after learning, what what I had done. So that software stuff gets tricky sometimes.
Yeah, it does, and I haven't played with the Pies now for about a year or so. I was lucky that I had this one. It was one I bought when they were, having a sale up at Micro Center, $5 a piece or something like that, and it was a spare. But after you don't do anything like that for a year, and you go back and you go, okay, how did I do this before? And you go to the net, and you'll find directions, but those directions aren't always dated, and that's what I look for when I looking for help on the internet. I'm looking for the latest dates for the web pages, because you'll have 10 or 20 web pages that say, well, this is how you do this, but it's all out of date for the way the software is now and the hardware now. Still a Raspberry Pi, but they're not the same. So it gets touchy. It was getting a little frustrating. And then it was, you wouldn't want to hear me when I found out, hear what I was saying to myself when I found out it was me leaving a parenthesis out. But it's working now. Now it's on to the next stage. Back to net. W8VPV, KA8WTK.
This is W03X with John at the mic for W8VPV. Band Exploration Net. Back when I was in college, we were doing Fortran 4, and we were doing, we had these assignments that we would type in the key punch cards, and so if you turned in the cards and then came back a couple days later, and you got a printout of about 5 or 6 sheets, then that was good. If you only got one sheet back, that was bad. It means it didn't run. But this one time I went back to get my printout, and here it was 2 inches thick of that printer paper. And here it said at the end that it had destroyed the something. All it was just full of octal numbers. And what I had done, they didn't have a 1 on the keyboard. There was no 1 on the keyboard. You use a lowercase l for 1. I had inadvertently typed an I for 1 instead of the lowercase l, and that's what caused the thing to just go into a loop. Over.
Oh, that's wild. Yeah, I didn't have the pleasure of dealing with cards. When I ran into Fortran, one of the first jobs they gave me when I got into R&D over here in Talmadge was they said, here, we've got a Fortran program, and we want you to convert it over to BASIC so it'll run on Windows. Now, I didn't know any different, so I started into it, and by God, I got it running, but I never dealt with punch cards. Only after Fortran looked a whole lot like BASIC.
Yeah. Later, they went to use the video screen, so that made it a lot better. And I converted a laser power supply program that the manager had come up with. I converted that to BASIC so that we could use it out in the production area. So, okay, very good, Bill. So I'm going to see if we have any more check-ins here. So KA8WTK, I'll clear with you. 73, and have a good evening. This is Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor asking for check-ins. AB8OU, go ahead, Zeke, with your comments.
AB8OU, good evening, John. Sorry I made a tune-up on frequency, I think. I'm still trying to figure out how this K4 works. It's got 3 antenna ports, a couple of receive antenna ports, and you're supposed to be able to assign anything to anything. And I haven't messed up. I haven't got it configured right. But anyway, this is a new time trying it on 6. I wonder how it sounds. And back to you, John, AB8OU.
I have you a solid S8 here, way above the noise. So it's a solid copy, and the audio sounds pretty good too. So you shouldn't have any trouble being heard set up like that. Over.
Thanks, John. Well, I don't know. I'm still working on it. I've got several different equalizer settings to try, and first I've got to get these antennas figured out so I know which antenna I'm transmitting on, which I'm listening on the tube, which goes to which receiver. Now I'm stuck. I've got 2 receivers, but I can only put them on 1 antenna. Lots of fun. Anyway, congratulations. Looks like you're the Ohio section leader in your category in the PA user party, AB8OU.
Yeah, I saw that I was up pretty high there for the category that I was in. So, yeah, you did pretty good there. You had about 1.5 times the points that I had, so very good. So thanks for checking in. 73, have a good evening, and I'll probably hear you check in tomorrow there on the Silver Creek Amateur Radio Association Tuesday night 2-meter net. Okay, this is Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor asking for check-ins. Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor asking for check-ins. Okay, I don't hear any at this time. I'll repeat the announcement. announcements, and then I'll give one last call for check-ins. Okay, so the next meeting of the Cuyahoga Falls Amateur Radio Club will be at the Pilgrim United Church of Christ, 130 Broad Boulevard. You get to the parking lot by going south off of Broad Boulevard on 2nd Street. And so February 8th, we'll have a presentation. We'll have a short business meeting and then a presentation by Frank W8EZT about the repeater. And he will have the second part of that presentation will be like requests and things like that from the audience. What we would maybe like add features to the repeater and so forth. Then on February 22nd will be a presentation by Greg Latta, Alpha 8 Victor, who lives in Frostburg, Maryland, but he plans to come to the meeting in person and give his presentation about radio astronomy. And he's even going to have some of his equipment with him. So, according to what he says, that it's not real hard to get set up to do radio astronomy. So, we'll see how that goes. Sounds like that's going to be another fun presentation. Then on March 8th, again, we're going to be making the business meetings shorter and have presentations during the after we conduct some business. So on March 8th, after we do the business, there's going to be a presentation by Anthony, K8ZT, about 10 meters. And so that's going to be an interesting presentation, and I can vouch for the activity that 10 meters is doing. I parked on a high spot here in Cuyahoga Falls and did winter field day mobile stationary, just using ham sticks and on my trunk lid, and one of the actually on the edge of the trunk lid, and so I did 4 bands, and one of the bands was 10 meters, and I made contacts with 12 different states, including California and Utah, New Mexico, Idaho, and so forth, out that way. So 10 meters is really coming up now for long distance. Let's see, so that's all that I have in the way of announcements. So with that, this is Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor, last call for check-ins. Whiskey 8 Victor Papa Victor, last call for check-ins. Okay, not hearing any more check-ins. In preparing to close this net, I would like to thank all of you who took the time to join us and check in tonight. As mentioned earlier, this band exploration net meets every Monday at 9:30 p.m. Next week, the frequency will be 28.360 megahertz. That's on the 10-meter band, and that will be upper side band. Please feel free to check in regularly, even if only for a moment. All comments are welcomed and valuable to us. This has husband, John, and my call is WO3X, and it's been my pleasure to host this evening's net. At this time, I will close the net and return the frequency to normal, customary amateur radio use. This is Whiskey 8, Victor Papa Victor, closing the net at 10:04 p.m. local time with 7 check-ins counting myself. 7-3.
Good job, John. Thank you, sir, and have a good evening. See you Wednesday.
You too, Pat, and you sound good there. Thanks. This is WO3X. I'll be clear.
Good job, John. Thanks, sir. Have a good evening. NAOQP.
Very good. Yeah, WO3X. Thanks, Pat. I'll be clear.